driving this golf cart that my grandma, she had at her lake house. She was super old, she was like 60 or something. And so she had she needed those wheels to get around, so naturally we steal it. So we're driving towards this cliff overlooking this beach. She lived in a lake house. Anyway, so my brother Dan, he's gunning it, and I'm not holding on to anything. So Dan, he steps on the brake, he turns the car around, and I'm out, and I'm flying. I'm over the cliff, over the beach. I must have gotten like 20 feet over the water. And there's a moment there where I'm hanging and I'm suspended. And like I'm really mad at Dan. But then I just wanted out into Pelican Lake. So we're back to shore. Anyway, so back to shore. Then later that night, I see Dan. He's obviously sleeping like a baby. So I get my cup. Do my business, it's said cup. And
oh my, on his face? OMG, that is hilarious. It literally kills me. What do you guys think?
A bit crude. Revenge in general is a child's game.
7 years old is 7 years old, Mr. Woolite.
It's a cool story, Billy. The coolest thing that ever happened to me was getting in here, so cheers to you, man.
Thanks, Joe. I really appreciate that.
Actually, I was a contestant on Big Brother, but my old man wouldn't exactly call that amazing.
Wait, like the television show?
Yeah.
Big Brother?
Yeah, season 10. The ratings weren't great, but I came in 4th place. It was a great experience. Rachel Osborne of Pasadena took home $500,000. Gosh, she was really cool. But yeah, I met a lot of interesting people. Gerald Ugarud. Now there's someone you wouldn't leave alone in the kitchen. He almost blew up the whole place trying to make a key. God, Gerald was something else. Still is, I assume.
Wait. You serious?
Well, yeah, I mean, Gerald was the youngest of 10 kids between his parents and a broken township in northern Nevada. And
No, not Gerald. Joe, you were on Big Brother. OMG, that is incredible. It is literally incredible.
It is something.
Well, my old man would beg to differ. He said, and I quote, "Son, you'd be better off robbing the bank, because that way, after you'd lost all your dignity as a man, you'd still be able to pay the rent."
No, Joe. Joe, that's incredible. Joe.
All right.
Joe!
Yeah.
Incredible.
Okay. Shouldn't we get going? The ceremony starts in a little under an hour.
Let's go. I'm telling you all, so many discoveries to be made. They say physics is in a slum. Bourgeois, this is nothing to medicine. What exactly do you mean by that? Take this new Einstein guy, for example. More creative than anyone medicine has seen in millennia.
Right on, bro. That Einstein dude was a Dubler radical. Relativity? Jeez. My physics professor was all like, imagine a train traveling past a stationary clock. And I was all like, I don't understand that. And I never did.
And he's talking about Weinstein, not Einstein.
Oh, right on, bro.
Weinstein's a hedge fund manager.
Precisely, Elizabeth.
Oh, please, call me Liz.
Yes, of course, Liz Blackwell.
Wait, can someone please tell me why we're talking about the market?
Indubitably, Florence and I mutually conversed about this topic, so I believe.
Don't call me that!
She actually prefers Flo.
Flo? Nightingale. Hella cool, OG for sure.
Actually, I had a question for you about your dad's Redmond connection, Florence. So, did he work?
Don't call me that! Get back to this Weinstein guy.
Ah, of course, Eric Weinstein. The new Einstein, eh? Yeah, okay. You can do the Googles on him if you please. I swear he's real. Hedge fund man by day, theoretical physicist by night.
Yes, I read some of his work on spinorial constructions. My understanding doesn't go very far beyond the plate chip, but I read through the cited articles and managed to tease out the gist of it. Very raw, but interesting. The news stories make him seem so underappreciated.
Why, this is my feeling as well. His work in these areas needs academic consideration, but because of his also grandiose assertions about this theory of everything. He's treated like
The cuckoo bird?
precisely. No one listen to him. No one take her seriously. I often wonder if this is our greatest flaw as a species.
Indubitably. I'll swear it, man. Well, we should probably roll out pretty soon. I'm gonna grab some food over yonder. Dominique Ivanskaya, Janet Jansky, Liz Blackwell, Flo Nightingale. It was simply fantastic meeting each of you individually. I'll see you soon at the ceremony. Good, Betty.
And I kid you not, Eddie Jenner, don't you dare make me laugh. I stood up on that bar stool, cocked my shoulders back, lifted my chin and looked out across the whole place and said, hey, I'm Nancy Shumway from Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I'm here to arm wrestle each and every one of you.
Damn, she did.
Hey, don't spoil it. Why don't you take out your little tuppa and go on the Facebook? I'm having a meaningful conversation with my friend here, Mr.
Johnny Snow in the flesh. But no way, no way! You most assuredly ain't my chain on this one, brah.
I kid you not, I kid you not. From Aaron Aronson to Zick Bezwicki, I arm wrestled all 47 patrons in Ritz Pub that night. And, well, I've never gone home more broke or more sober. I'm not a big drinker anyway. Hey, Joe! Louisa! Aren't you both from around here? Do you know Joe Bell?
Only by reputation. Louisa Pasteur. I've heard excellent things about you.
Louisa, that's strange because I've heard some pretty terrible things about you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Eddie Jenner here was just telling me how you're a real fan of just being a prick, and that your mother never actually loved you.
Yeah, I never said that.
You don't say, Joseph Bell. Well, Nancy Shumway recently informed me that when you were in the 5th grade, you spilled an entire pitcher of non-alcoholic sparkling wine down your front during the school production about the Founding Fathers. For 6 weeks straight, even the vice principal couldn't help but snicker when Grand Chabot, self-appointed class clown, stood up on his stool at lunch hour, clapped his hands for attention, and announced that pissy long stockings would now be calling the First American Continental Congress to order.
Oh, Louisa Pasteur. You struck where it already seems.
Look, Joe, I never said that. I don't even know you.
Did you know each other?
Yeah, since we were 3.
My family had just moved into the neighborhood. He ran over my leg with one of those little tight cozy cooks. We were concerned it might be broken.
That is so frightening.
Yes, turned out it was fine. But what could they have done? Split the leg and administer a mouthful of concrete. That's standard practice. My mother was away on business, so Joe's father drove us to the emergency room. Of course, we all know they're clueless in the ER. They're the ones who couldn't find a real profession after all.
Now, let's be fair. They put in there 2 years, just like everyone.
Right on, brah. There's some bad props and run.
2 years, fine. And did what with it exactly? Medical school has always been a rite of passage. It's just doubling down. Only good for a gamble further up the ladder.
Not yet, I must confess this. I'm just telling some of our comrades about the great...
Comrades! Good word. Good word.
LMGs, are they communists? Possible. And no. I am just saying how there's discrepancy between medicine and all other modalities of science. It falls to us. What more, it is our prerogative. Yes, that word, to bring medicine up to par.
There are no discrepancies. You're looking at it like a theoretician. You think if there was any way to bring the field of medicine up to par, that our forebears wouldn't have figured it out by now? There's a perfectly reasonable explanation for the way things are, even if it can't really be articulated. It's hubris to presume too far beyond the extrapolated trends.
What toads? Who do you think you are anyway?
All right, that's enough. Let's all be level-headed about this. Be mindful of your own hubris, Miss Pasteur.
Yes, of course. I know I am conceited. I have many reasons to be, and I can't apologize for myself. But I can apologize for being rude, Dominika Ivanovskaya. Even if I am right.
Well, think nothing of it, Louisa Pasteur, but you will see. There are many things to be done. A great convergence about to occur. There is a storm coming, and we will watch it from the center. All of the roaring triumphs and all of the silent consequences.
All right, cool story, bro. Well, I say we all go hit up that matriculation ceremony and let us have a righteous blast these next 2 years, yeah? But first, my brethren, I give unto you story time. Now, who here has heard the quintessential legend of the Roman anatomist / undefeated gladiator, Marcus de Cook of Cordoba?
Hello, one and all. My goodness. Who would always forget cycle for prune juice? Yes. A pleasure to have you all here, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished faculty, administrators, and above all, eager matriculants of our fair institution. My name is Dr. Claudius Galen. You can call me Cloud. You may be familiar with some of my work. Well, if we want to overindulge in pleasantries, so I'll cut to the quick. No dancing around the naked truth, as much as we might like to get tipsy and try. Medical school is in a bad way. We're not doing very well. First, I would like to sincerely apologize for the rather spare state of our venue. Recent budgetary shortfalls, you know, with the physicists proposing another one of their colliding smashing machines under Liechtenstein, anthropologists and paleontologists swarming around Siberia, zoologists stuffing penguins around the South Pole. My goodness, even the literary theorist gets free room and board for applying Hegel to Dickens for the umpteenth time. Needless to say that there isn't enough substantial funding, or even a few nickels from the stray global patron now and then to go around. I am principally astonished that our species has managed such brilliant strides, in spite of the average life expectancy remaining at 47 years for almost 2 centuries. At least that's what the statisticians tell me. I was made to believe them. I've always kind of thought they were full of shit. I digress. But though in medicine our rituals and grand intentions have fallen by the wayside of history, as seems only right, we do yet serve a purpose in the general well-being of our dear municipality, Minneapolis. Minneapolis. As a child, first aspires to walk before life on, you will imbue with your earnest minds the critical thinking skills you will one day need to succeed in a vocation or profession more amenable to life each other. And for the few of you who are inevitably relegated from the bottom of the class. Do not despair, for we will raise you as our own, and you will join the ranks of our permanent faculty. Having the distinct pleasure of passing on our traditions to the next generation of aspiring doctors like yourselves. Now, before my esteemed colleague, Professor O'Connor, takes the stage, I've been told some of your classmates have prepared a little musical number. So, I'll just...
When I was 17, I met a girl called Justine. Her eyes were blue as chamomile tea. Her lips were soft and sweet. We took a morning stroll down by the river flats. The great way to a sunrise, and my heart was so surprised by this pretty little lady who stole my heart and rained me like a fool as souls the moon. As she moved among the flowers, my life became a tower, for the whole world was in bloom. She walked back looking far. Then her face began to swell. She turned into a puffer fish. To be honest, she looked like death. As she fell into my heart, the world lost all of its charms. I watched a bumblebee drift away. And the last time that I kissed her was the first time that I whispered, I love you till your dying day.
Tina, baby.
Because I didn't know what to do. Not a clue. That's the day I stopped loving you.
Goodbye, Tina. Adios, arrivederci, Tina. Sayonara, sayonara, au revoir, and goodbye. Goodbye.
Rubba-dubba in a tub of rubba-dubba-doo.
It was my dad's birthday on the 17th day. We were at Taco Bell for the first one and you what was the time? Oh yeah, that's right.
He shoveled salsa with a spoon.
I can remember when the signs got river. He took a sip of a green drink. God bless. Then he collapsed face first into a burrito spring chicken. What was I to do? I've never seen my daddy looking so happy and so blue.
Goodbye, Tara. Adios, arrivederci, Danny. Sayonara, sayonara, au revoir, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
So, what is our philosophy regarding the very brief lives we lead?
We just don't care.
Just don't care.
We just don't care, for we know death is always there. And though we could invent technology to forestall our mortality, it doesn't merit meaning that the sign is on the door. That's not open possibility. We are a fight to never lead a life of great ambition is a life of great despair. That's what we mean, so don't get up out of your chair. we just don't
This
care.
ain't no fad.
This is the way the world has worked for some 2,000 years. We've learned we've seen Pompeii, the flying birds, and had to flash atomic microwave moment in our bird.
Poor Jamie never would see
So please don't look so gloomy. Enjoy the time we've got. Seneca don't care how long it is, but how good it is.
That's a Roman innuendo.
Yeah.
Thank you, first years. That was great. My name is Professor Wally O'Connell of the University College London. I'd like to start by thanking the administration for this opportunity and extend a special thanks to Dr. Galen for asking me here personally. The Albion has been my home these 23 years, the Emerald Isle 17 before that. I'll admit, I'm not much looking forward to your Minnesota winters. Back home, my colleagues say, "Laddie, it gets so cold there, you can't peel the skin off a dead horse." But don't worry, I've never been much of an equestrian myself. So, on to business. As a young boy growing up in the streets of Dublin, I was the unlucky victim of a bully. I know, 'tis hard to imagine. A right powerful specimen such as him, how could that ever fare the worse in a gentleman's bout? But it was no gentleman's game we played that day, not by any stretch of the imagination. And I, a strapping lad of 10, had yet to don these cords of bounteous sinew which so amply dress my frame today. No, I was what you all on this side of the pond might call a weakling, a legitimate wuss, straight from the cradle of my sweet mother. May she rest in peace. Wasted no time in making it known to me how useless I was, kinetically speaking. I couldn't do sport like the other lads. I was a wretched footballer, still am, and my tennis play is a wash. When I swing my driver, all the spectators cringe in their respective boots. I was summarily shouted down and banned from the Celtic Adventure mini golf course for hitting my classmate in the temple off a bad hook shot. It was just my case that Jessica O'Malley and me had some sort of beef to settle over a historical argument, and it was somewhat freakishly impressive I'd managed to hit her all the way up on the mezzanine off a 1-foot putt. No. So my sport didn't help me much with the other children. Out of shame, I put up my defenses. I became antagonistic at best. I felt I was no benefit to anyone. As we say in the old country, I couldn't stew a nematode to save a ransomed pig. But the one thing I did have going for me was a head chock full of ideas, which really counts against you in the way of bullies. The physical toll I could handle. For 3 years it went, and I received my unfair share of knocks, stings, and scrapes. It was on the inside, though, that self-perpetuating machine, screaming out my inadequacy between tots, telling me I wasn't fit to walk and talk and breathe. Why, that has taken its time receding. Not even when I returned home one evening in late December of 1982, and my sweet mother, may she rest in peace, informed me that 9-year-old Mary McLeod had just become the youngest girl ever admitted to the juvenile penitentiary of our dear republic. Apparently for hijacking a wrecking ball from a nearby demolition firm and taking a big swing and a miss at the north wing of St. George's Academy for Boys and Girls. And just like that, the nightmare was over. That pixie-faced, yours truly abusing spawn of the devil sealed away at last. In the interim, things have gone pretty well for me. I was quite the physics man in high school. During my more experimental college years, I even gave serious consideration to the life of an attorney. Well, now, simmer. We can't all be perfect now, can we? But no, I graduated with my degree in theoretical physics, started working, started contributing to my field, got married, had 2 beautiful girls. Work was exciting, and then it became a chore. Theoretical physics can be a negative field sometimes. We claim there is nothing left to prove, but of course there is. So, I've taken time away from my academic prelude to come here on a 2-year sabbatical to pursue thoughts that have been rattling around up here for a while. But more important, I've come here to put a spur in your sides. You were all raised in the lap of luxury. Look at you. You're brilliant, every single one of you. That's why you're here. But what will you make of it? You'll sacrifice your 2 years, learn the ins and outs of an antiquated discipline, and then fly off to the coasts. You'll become stockbrokers, technological innovators, engineers and CEOs holding the reins of the economy in your grasp. Because our ancestors decided that classics and medicine are the two hallmarks of a highbrow education, you'll enter your apprenticeships in New York, Los Angeles, and Washington, fully assured that you've left no box unchecked. But you will have. If you leave here the same way every man and woman ever has, medicine's not even sick. It's almost 20 centuries dead. And every 50 years or so, someone like Dr. Galen comes along and throws a pulse into the system, only to have it fade before the next pulse is thrown by another solitary genius. It's too infrequent, it's too slow. People are dying out there among the streets and the shanties and the brush, never imagining life the way you lot have had it. It's my observance that our short lives make wisdom and empathy a precious commodity, save for the old and who are forgotten in the rush and roar of youth. I'm telling you, you have the chance to make an engine here, something self-perpetuating, a process in the field of medicine that'll churn out advancements like billets from a wood chipper. There's fame and glory in it too, bitter as I am about how 9-year-old Mary McLeod brutalized me, dealing blow after blow with the precision and leverage of a Krav Maga master. She studied it extensively at the district library. I've grown fond of the effect she's had on me. It's made me hard in understanding at the same time. It's opened my eyes to the plight of the downtrodden, and more important, it's forced me to succeed or hate myself forever. Who are you not to benefit the world? Without the grizzled man drilling oil in Alaska, you wouldn't have the plastic for the chairs you're sitting in. Without the proud woman on the assembly line in Foxconn, you wouldn't have the smartphones you so depend on. Without the bleary-eyed girl sewing linens in Bangladesh, why, you wouldn't have the cloth to wipe your mouth after a rich meal. Without the scraggly boy up at the crack of dawn on a farm in South Dakota, why, you wouldn't have that meal at all. The grizzled man, the proud woman, the bleary-eyed girl, the scraggly boy, you've never met them, but they raised you. The world raised you. You owe to it everything you can muster, and though medicine was not my calling, I'm here today to convince you to take up the mantle. Become obsessed with it. Leave no room for other dreams. This is your dream now. There's a lot to be done, a lot of achievement to be had. I know it's vague, this request I made of you. Let me just say, I leave it open for your robust interpretations. So surprise me, ladies and gents. Surprise me to no end. Thank you.
It was before. I distinctly remember my aunt's distended belly quite vividly. So his parents wanted him to fit in with all the other German kinder, so they gave him a nice German name.
Dominica,
That.
no one cares about your cousin Fritz. And calm down, you're agitating everyone. I don't think there's anything to this Paolo Vitan or whatever you'd like to call it. It's just nonsense.
Now hold on a second, Louisa. I think Dominica might be onto something here.
That's possible.
All right, Leeuwenhoek, explain.
What she's talking about. I've seen it too.
Rabble, 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 rabble.
Well, not the same thing. Not these Paulo Vitam exactly. I developed a device with my father. He's an optical engineer. Ever since I was a little boy, he's done most of his work at home, and he lets me help the best I can. Late one night, we managed to manipulate the vitreous affinities of light by magnifying and focusing an incident beam of light, such that objects, even the tiniest of objects, can appear as big as my fist, right here before your naked eye. My father calls it the microscope. And with it, I've seen tiny creatures made of undulating dynamic walls, flickering tails, and mouths that consume other tiny creatures. There's an entire world all around us, underneath our feet, even in the air we breathe. Up until now, I chalked it up to my own overactive imagination, but what Dominica says confirms it. I believe Professor O'Connor is right. Medicine is already primed for a revolution.
Rabble, 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 rabble.
Hold on, Tony. You're saying there are major discoveries to be made in medicine?
Well, I can't be sure. Nobody can. But it seems improbable that science could have progressed this far without already spilling into medicine by now.
Rabble.
Now hear me out. I remember reading a book the summer before last by the pacifist philosopher Napoleon Bonaparte. In the last chapter, you mentioned something about the effect of cannabis on the West following the collapse of the Roman Empire.
That's right. He speculates that the drug altered brain patterns for entire populations.
Actually, now that you mentioned it, I think my brother Dan got into reading Napoleon a big way a couple of years back. So my brother Dan, always the consummate reader. You know, 1 year he read over 120 books in 1 year. Hey, what was the name of that book? I can check with Dan and see if he's read it.
It's not really a book, it's more of a treatise. It's called A Foray into the Fifth Axis, Manipulations of Historical Turning Points in the Ontology of Our World. Basically, it deals with alternate realities. FYI, Napoleon just loved metaphysics. And you have read this Napoleon?
What's that supposed to mean?
Nothing, it just surprises me.
Oh, okay. You want to go?
Well, that depends, where are we going? Daisy, stop it. Sorry, Tony, Daisy's just trying to be hilarious or something. Please, continue.
Of course. As we all know, cannabis was widely available throughout most of the developed world. Nearly every teenager and their grandmother was doing it. Napoleon argues that this ubiquity had a specific influence on medicine in particular, and in one profound way. Namely, it made people not care about life or death. Certainly, people still pursued their interests. No drug can quell the passions of entire continents. But it left a void where medicine and healing was concerned, which we take for granted. But what Napoleon found was entirely peculiar, which fundamentally altered the human attitude towards existence.
Yes, that makes complete and total sense. The internal logic is sound, and nothing you've said is at all confusing. Go on.
So the world over, death becomes something laughable. Napoleon doesn't go into many details, but we know that after the fall of Rome came the ineptly named Dark Ages, then the Renaissance, which began in Amsterdam, as we all know. But that was only 150 years ago. The 30 years leading up to the Renaissance, incidentally enough, but not so strange if you think about it. The fall of the cannabis market, subsequently and simultaneously, the exponential surge in the rise in the sale and production of alcohol, tipping the scales towards inebriation. Whether or not this is the reason for why this particular moment is finally upon us, we can't be sure. But the fact remains, The question has been raised before. Why, given our theoretical understandings and our modern technology, has medicine remained in near total infancy? For that, there is no short answer. But you may be surprised to know that medicine has progressed more in the past 100 years than it has in all of recorded history.
Yeah, I think I may need to confirm all this with Dan.
Dominica, back to your discovery. I've often speculated that these tiny creatures of ours are the source of countless illnesses. Perhaps the principal limit on a near limitless lifespan.
Rabble, hold on. You're saying there's a revolution coming, that we could kind of make a name for ourselves?
Well, in one sense, that's precisely what I'm saying, but the picture's entirely bigger than that.
What would the old badger think of that?
Lavenhook, I need to speak with you immediately. You too, Dominica.
Hold on. Louisa, I think I feel a song coming on.
Well, yes, my friend, but how will it go?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it'll be pretty quick. It's gonna have a beginning and an end, and get sort of dramatic at some point, or at every point. But that's kind of a funny question to ask. I'm just gonna go ahead and...
Right you are, Joe. Get on the floor.
When I was just a boy, my father said, "You went to school, or else by God you'll wind up just another gambling fool." Woe is me, that's what I was. I was a waste of space, and in this human race, there is no place for those who can't do something for somebody else. So off to college in the fall, where I did not do much at all, and though the party would go on and on, it ended in a crawl back to the place I thought I left. Oh, well and good, but there are bills to pay, and if this isn't quite the dream the old man always had for me, so what? There was resentment in his voice when he found out I was to be a contestant on the next airing of Brothers Say to Me. Right then and there, I wish that I could take it back, but I am I and he is he, and there's no changing who we have become until today. So
see. I want my name on my discovery. When you look inside the pelvis and see the space between the vagina and the rectum, you'll think of
to the aperture of what is to come and all the power that implies. I deliberately pretentious for effect, of course. An overlay of the virtual future, which I imagine, over the actual future, which the determinist says I cannot touch. We will see about that. It is not a mistake to say the chess grandmaster sees the way of natural end long before the final rock and roll. All that trial and error, meticulous deliberation, so many constant years, it all manifests in that fraction of a second. It shivers up the spine. It's essentially precognition.
Louisa, I think you need to see the dentist.
Why do you say that?
Because your mouth is full of shit.
That joke isn't up to your standards. Do you recall that particular day when you were 7? It was August, and Julia had made a spinach lentil soup for dinner. And then we watched Rugrats for 4 hours and fell asleep on the carpet. And you woke up with my toe in your ear.
No, I don't remember that.
Then let me remind you that we were spoiled once, just as we're spoiled now. Life was and is a wondrous boon. I mean, something really amazing is happening here, isn't it, Joe?
Whatever you say.
Something's bothering you. What is it?
You know, you're a pretty sharp one, Louisa. When you were in college, just how many businesses did you start again?
You know perfectly well it was 4. We spoke nearly every day on the phone. You're being facetious.
No. What could possibly make you think that?
The low pitch and high intensity of your voice and high verse format, this psychomotor agitation, your responses are consistently sarcastic. Your face is...
My face? What about my face?
What's wrong with you?
God, you're starting to sound like my mom. Oh, what's wrong, Joseph? Did you get enough to eat? Are those sniffles I hear, mister? Oh, you sound like you have a cold. Here, let me make you some chicken broth. Just stop.
Julia was a wonderful woman. You shouldn't talk about her like that.
Yeah, well, she was my mother.
And now she's dead. Life doesn't stop for you.
How can you be so careless?
About what?
About what you say.
What are you getting at?
You could have done something for her.
Yes. Now, maybe. Or a year from now, we could do something for Julia if she were still alive. But we don't have a time machine, Joe. Of course, you have to consider the risks. The energy consumption, the grandfather paradox, and destruction resolution, notwithstanding Novikov's self-consistency principle, nullifying any and all fantastical probabilities.
Stop. I don't even know what you're talking about.
But you're being absurd. Your father wouldn't care to see you acting like this.
Henry didn't give a damn when she died. He wouldn't give a damn today. We all act like it doesn't matter.
Don't be a child. Of course it matters. But what do you expect? Attitudes are slow to change. The fact that you feel this way just now is an indication that things will do just that. Change. A few months ago, I couldn't have imagined it bothering you this much.
Because it didn't bother me.
Then what is different?
I don't think we should open that door.
Door? When I started renovations.
You know what I mean.
All right, then humor me.
I don't want there to be the possibility that she could have been saved if she were alive today or a year from now.
Take your time. Simply speak your mind.
I don't know. Imagine if George was still alive. Think what more good he could have done. Now imagine he sticks around for another 30 years. Because of us. Because of what we're doing here.
Now we're getting somewhere. Pretend I don't follow what you're saying, Joe. My father died 5 years ago. He lived a fine life. That's all in the past.
But you get it. If the possibility of him living were never there, it wouldn't hurt as much to let him go. Same's true for my mom. But now we're making it all possible. All of it, Louisa.
I understand, Joe. I really do. Don't think I haven't recognized the consequences of what we're doing here. We planners, well, we plan. And human behavior is susceptible to natural law same as anything else. Give it time. Your anxiety will resolve itself.
Nobody deserves to live so long. That's not natural.
But what can we do? There's nothing we can do.
I don't think we should open that door.
That door again? Fine, I'll play to your metaphor. We've already peeled it from its hinges and blown it into the sun. There's no off switch for this, Joe. The room is lit. We've created a self-perpetuating engine, just like Professor Ocod said, and all that implies. You're being naive, and frankly hypocritical, considering your part in it.
I haven't made anything. Thanks for noticing. I haven't contributed one iota to anything. Not that you care.
Not that I care? Are you being serious? So now you start moaning about what you haven't done? It's my fault for not complimenting you on your misery, is it? Oh, what a wonderfully worthless piece of crap you are, Joseph Bell. Did you fail and cry like a little girl all by yourself? I've never been so proud.
Now who's being facetious?
Julia would be ashamed.
You Shut up.
And you stand up straight and grow a pair.